Hello and welcome to Claudia the Camper, all about my 70s styled camper conversion. Today we're looking at my camper kitchen unit and how I made authentic looking tiles out of MDF. It's a pretty wacky idea, but I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I'll explain all about it and you can judge the results for yourself. Hopefully, it might give you some inspiration and food for thought. In our build, I wanted the kitchen unit splashback to be a bit of a centerpiece, an attractive nod to the 1970s, incorporating some of the classic styling of that decade. The 1970s was a time of great transition in home decor, and ceramic tiling in kitchens was very fashionable. Graphic design was leaning towards floral and geometric patterns with vibrant colours and warm tones, often using quite simple and playful ideas. Stylistic natural curves gave a nod to the fact that there are no straight lines in nature. These colourful designs also often featured considerable amounts of white. If you study retro patterns, you'll notice that pure white was almost a signature hallmark of the era. So back to the van. I knew what I wanted, but I immediately hit problems finding any ceramic tiles that were the right size, with the right sort of pattern, at the right price. There was also the issue of weight. Anyone who has ever tiled their kitchen will know that a box of ceramic tiles is surprisingly heavy. After some thinking, I had the idea of simply making the ceramic tiles out of MDF or medium density fiberboard. I was surprised though, because I couldn't find any examples online of people doing this. But why not? I was fairly sure it would work. I first decided on the area I wanted to tile. Then I worked out the ideal tile size, allowing for gaps. I cut strips of MDF on my table saw, then rounded over the edges with my router. Then I cut the tile squares and rounded over again. Then after that, I applied water-soluble wood dye to the MDF tiles, exactly in the same shade as used throughout the van. This dye gave the tiny particles in the MDF an interesting, fine textured look, a bit similar to fired and glazed clay. I varnished the tiles, then painted my designs in acrylic paint, applying the paints onto some simple DIY paper stencils that I'd made. I dreamt up my own patterns but kept the curves and shapes that I felt were in keeping with the 1970s and that had a slightly humorous side to them. I paid attention to mixing colours that would complement the rest of the van. After another coat of varnish, the tiles were finished. I stuck the tiles to a backing board, then cemented the gaps with real tile cement. I felt this was the cherry on top of the cake to get an authentic look, but I've got to admit, it was a pretty messy step. I'd already made a wooden frame for the tiles, and so I finally mounted this whole frame to the back of my kitchen unit, and the job was done. So there we are. This bold shot in the dark paid off, giving me the splash of 1970s styling that I was after. The advantages? Well, the tiles are featherweight in comparison to real tiles. I made them to my own custom sizes. I painted my own patterns. They were relatively cheap. And finally, I got satisfaction from making something unique, which I always like. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, give it a like and let me know what you think. Bye for now.